What is going on, y'all? Happy Thursday, happy Jupiter Day, happy New Year. The real New Year is here, y'all. It's fucking here. I'm so excited. Okay, so anyway, this video in particular was by request. It really wasn't. The topic was, but not in the form of a video. But I'm deciding to make a video because I feel like this would generally be easier for everybody. And this is something I've been wanting to talk about for quite some time anyway, but one of my good friends in our group chat gave me the asked about it and in our group chat, and decided, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just cover it in a video just because I feel like that would be most beneficial and helpful, especially the way my ADHD be doing all that. So yeah, so anyway, we're gonna cover the numbers 222 and 444. And as some of you may be seeing them in the form of synchronicities, others maybe recognize them as angel numbers, however they apply to you. As always, this is not a reading. However, this part does apply. Whatever, you can take from it, take what you can apply, let the rest fly. It's really that simple. So what I'm not going to give you, quick little housekeeping before we get started. What I'm not going to give you is meanings from Google, right? Because you can do that research yourself, okay? But what I am going to give you is insight from a more spiritual, higher level of awareness perspective, something beyond regular Google research. Okay, it's not to say that those that what you find doing a Google search isn't valid or it doesn't have any hold any validity in your situation or what you're inquiring about, but it's definitely barely scratching the surface. And so a few things. So before we get started, even go into this even further, I do want to say that I'm not a numerologist, nor do I pretend to be or claim to be, but what I am is a spiritual consult, an eclectic practitioner, which means that I use different techniques and healing modalities to support my clients. So you can find all the offerings that I currently have on my Gumroad page that is linked in my bio, so feel free to check that out. Shameless plug. So what I'm looking through is the deck that I created. It's called Signs and Synchronicities Oracle deck, and I have both those numbers in this deck, so that's part of also what I'm going to give you. 222 on the timer, 222 in my deck, okay? And so I have 666 here. Some of you may be seeing that as well. And looking for, there it is, 444. Okay. So we're going to talk about those. So first thing that I do want to say, before I get into the keywords based on not only research that I've extended research that I've done, but also intuitive downloads, my own intuitive guidance, right? Which, like I said, is going to be different for each of you. So this, what I'm about to express here, I feel like is really important when it comes to signs, synchronicities, things like that. I stopped believing in coincidences and mistakes quite some time ago. So for me, when I do see signs, synchronicities, no matter what form they show up in this particular video, obviously we're speaking of numbers, but I feel like what I've learned, at least what my spirit has showed me, that is that even when you see the same sign or synchronicity, it doesn't always have the same message for you. So meaning the first time you may see 222, that could be an indication of 333 on the timer. It could be an indication of like say you're having a thought and you're kind of like concerned, or you're like really trying not to lose your cool, right? Really trying not to maybe rock the boat, right? And you see the number 222, that could in that moment be an opportunity for you to stay balanced in that moment, right? To not freak the fuck out, not lash out, not go off, right? And it's important to maintain your balance. Typically when you allow yourself to listen to that intuitive guidance when it comes in, and then actually respond accordingly, you'll then see either in that moment or sometime after the fact why it was important for you to maintain even a cool temperature, right, so to speak. So what I also want to say about numbers is when you see them, like I was saying, that when you see them, they're going to have different meanings. So that's also important, and why I always stress when I talk about numbers and signs and synchronicities is always it's important to listen to your own intuitive guidance before we go to Google and allow all of that information to flood our own mind. 444 on the timer. Before we allow that to flood our own mind, and shift what we think, right? And steer us away from our own intuitive guidance, I always highly recommend checking in with yourself first, because like I said, what it means right now when you see it is not necessarily going to mean the same thing when you see it again. Even if it's in the same day, even if it's, moments after the fact, it's not always going to mean the same thing, because it's all dependent on the frequency you're essentially is exuding, the frequency that you're emitting. So what that means is the energy that you're putting out to the universe is what is being reflected back to you. So when you see these different signs and synchronicities, one time you might see it may be a warning, right? To keep your temperature. You might be about to, do something that you might regret, right? And so it's telling you to keep a cool temperature. But you won't know that until when you see it, you allow yourself to, get silent for a second. Or even if it's not getting silent, for me, if I'm in a space like, by myself, I do allow myself to just sit with it, close my eyes, so that way my brain isn't processing all the things that is going on around me. And I just allow, it to tell me what that means for me in that moment, right? Because the next moment I may see it, it may be telling me you're doing a great job. You're right where you need to be. You're balanced. This is good, right? Stay here as long as you can. Vibrate here as long as you can, right? Sometimes that is what that is meaning as well. So that's why I say it's really important when you see these different signs and synchronicities to just, take a mental note of what's going on around you, right? What are you thinking when you see that? What is happening around you? What is, what I'm saying? Like, say for example, you're in an argument, right? And you happen to look up and see 222 and it distracts you for a second. Sometimes that is the universe's way of kind of pulling you away to break that energetic, the energetic tie, the energetic connection that's taking place at that time, right? Sometimes that's necessary to try to break the focus. Same as like if you're doing a donut, right? You're going in a cycle, going in a circle over and over and over again until you break it off. That is essentially how the same way you break cycles, right? You have to do something different. You have to shift the energy, the momentum of the direction it's going. So, some keywords, okay, as we speak of 222, that I have here on this my deck on this card that represents the 222. We have partnership, divine balance, harmony, love, relationships are highlighted. Divine timing is at play. Restoration of balance in spiritual/practical. Balance within heart, mind, spirit is important. Devotion to spiritual growth and self-development is key at this time. Okay, so if you're seeing 222, if any of that resonates, like I said, take what applies, let the rest fly. Meaning not all of this is going to be always for all of you. For some of you, it's going to be all of it, right? That's going to be personal to each of you. And again, that's why it's so important to allow yourself to tap into your own higher guidance and allow it to tell you what it means for you at that time when you see it. Because while, at a certain point in life, all of these may apply, when you see it again, it may just be one, right? So it's going to be personal to each of you, but those are some of the essential keywords that may be of significance to you when you see the number 222. Okay, so like for example, if you see it and you're let's say you're single, right, and you're like maybe going out or going to a networking mixer or something like that, and you see 222. For some of you, that can maybe be an indication of you might meet your life partner here. You may meet your future husband or wife here. You may meet a potential collaborative partner or business partner, something like that, right? So this is can also be an indication of, let me make sure I stay balanced as possible. Let me maintain a sense of patience, right? Because that's also what I'm getting with that. It's giving me temperance energy, right? Maintaining balance, being patient with yourself, patient with your process, patient with the universe, the way things are changing, the way things are shifting, trusting the divine timing, right? Trusting that things will shift and happen exactly when they need to, how it needs to happen. If it's meant to happen any differently, it would, right? So now let's shift into 444. Okay. So keywords for 444 that I have are: you have a solid foundation to build on, to build upon. Use your spiritual gifts/talents to do so. Divine font. The color of the font is hard to see, and this is one of the ones I'm gonna have to change. Let's see. Divine. Lord. Divine. I don't know. Anyway. Nurturing and angelic protection. I feel like it's nurturing and angelic protection. Divine support is, sweet Jesus. Divine support is with you. Believe in yourself. present. Okay, so for those of you that are seeing 444, that could definitely, any of those keywords, right, they can obviously apply. But when you're seeing 444, that could also be an energy like it, like I listed about protection, right? Spiritual protection, meaning that if you're, maybe having an experience, these are just some examples that if maybe, let's say you're kind of concerned about something, you're worried about something, right? This is sometimes spirit's way, or even if you're not consciously aware of whatever, you kind of maybe just feel anxiety in your body and not really sure where it's coming from. That could be spirit's way sometimes of easing your mind, letting you know that you have nothing to worry about, especially if you may find yourself in a situation that you kind of feel like, I don't know if I should be here, or you find yourself by yourself somewhere, right, where you don't really feel the safest. That is an indication of having divine spiritual protection, right? And, also it could be about money, right? Because your finances, that's about your foundation, right? Your stability, your sense of stability, your home, right? Things of that nature. So that can also be an indication of making sure that you're mindful of the things going on in your home. Like if you get an example, say for an example, if like you get an inkling of, maybe I should check my carbon monoxide filter, or monitor or whatever, alarm. Doing those things, especially if you see 444 after you had that thought, that is your indication of confirmation. Okay, that applies across the board with any number, not just 444. Okay, so if you see it after you maybe asked a question, that is also sometimes why that'll pop up, letting you know, yes, that's the right answer. Yes, do that, right? So it's like I said, it's going to be personal. So when you see it, that's when it's up to you to decide that is what that means. And let me give you another major takeaway to use when you see any type of sign, synchronicity, or whatever you choose to call it, angel number, it doesn't matter. The way the universe chooses to communicate with you is because they have identified through observation, obviously, and working with you, right, through your whole life, your whole, incarnation in this lifetime, have identified that is a way that you recognize that the universe is communicating with you. If the universe can recognize your spirit team, your guides, your ancestors, whoever it is that helps you and supports you on your journey, when they identify a way that they communicate with you, where you actually listen, where you heed the guidance, you actually respond accordingly, they'll continue to communicate with you that way. It only strengthens the communication, right? So when you see signs and synchronicities, things like that, you literally have 5 seconds before your brain kicks in and tells you that, no, that's not right, or maybe you should Google this, or are you sure that that's what that means? Whatever comes up for you, right? You have literally 5 seconds before that happens. So you want to make sure you take note of the very first thing that drops into your mind when you see the synchronicity, or when you ask the question, when you see the, synchronicity, like say, for example, if you ask, should I apply for this job? And then you happen to turn and look at your computer to go and look up the website, right? And you see 444, that could be an easy indication of yes. Like say you looked at it and you saw that number and immediately dropped in your mind, you heard a big yes, that is your indication to do it. Don't wait, don't think about it, don't question it. That is your opportunity to take inspired action, okay? So, what I also want to say about numbers is when you see sign synchronicities, another reason why it's so important to tap into your own intuitive guidance, not only because you'll get clear, accurate messages for why you're seeing it in that moment, you'll also continue to build your intuitive guidance, which is so fucking important. We're coming more and more into this, time, into this space and frequency where relying on your own inner guidance, where you may not have physical, tangible evidence or proof of something, you need to trust it. We're coming into that more and more and more, and you're going to if you allow it, you will continue to see and observe the way your life is showing you that you're on the right track, or yes, that is what you need to do, or yes, you can trust this voice, yes, you can trust that guidance when it comes in, even if you're really not clear or unsure about where it's coming from, especially if this is something like a newer type of I don't want to say practice, but a newer type of concept or experience for some of you, right? It's uncomfortable. And it makes sense, because it's anything that is fresh to you or new is going to be uncomfortable until you get good at it, right? So that's why these things are called spiritual practices. Why? Because anything you ever got good at took practice before you became a so-called, like a master at it, right? Or got really good at it. So this is no different. Just same way you go to the gym and you work your muscles, your intuition is the same thing. It's a muscle that you have to work. You have to, allow yourself to continue to, trial and error, see what works, see what doesn't, take notes, reflect, all the things. This is really no different, but this is going to be one of the most powerful tools that you have been divinely gifted in your toolbox to use in this lifetime. Not just for numbers, not just for manifestations, not just for love, but literally for everything. Everything. Your intuitive guidance will never lie to you. It is always going to be honest with you. Is it always going to tell you what you want to hear? Absolutely not. And it's not supposed to. But it's never going to steer you wrong. You only feel like you're steered wrong if you end up with the result that is less desirable. That doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. That's based on the definition we give things, right? So even when you see these, signs and synchronicities and things like that, again, that's why it's so important to tap into your own intuitive guidance, because you can easily misread it if we're relying on Google, things like that. It could scare you, fearmonger you into thinking that, oh, this means I'm gonna break up with my partner, or, something's gonna happen. And it doesn't always mean that. Okay. It's going to be different for everyone, and every moment to moment it changes. That's the only constant, is change. So it's never going to mean the same thing every time you see it. So I realized that this was a little all over the place. This was definitely unscripted and kind of random, but random as of like today, like planning to do this. But I've been thinking about it a good portion of the day. So I trust that those who received it, you got what you needed from it. If you have any other questions or any other type of videos you would like me to make, if I should make this a series based on, my own intuitive guidance and the knowledge and wisdom that I have and my level of awareness and perspective, then, let me know. I'm not interested in wasting my energy at all. So, but, yeah. So I hope this was helpful for those that needed it, especially to my besties in the group chat. Okay. But let me know if you guys enjoyed it. I really appreciate the feedback and all of the support. I love y'all so much, and happy new year again. Happy the real 2025, y'all. and I'm gonna tell you why, because the energy feels different. Like yesterday was my grandmother's birthday, and I'm not even gonna say it was that. It was just, I could tell like there was a shift in the energy, right? And typically these bigger events, you'll typically feel the energy at least 3 days before, at least 3 days after. This was kind of like a little bit even further out than that. So yeah, I'm just like, I'm here for it. I'm so here for it. So anywho, however, really quick, a little off topic, but I feel like still very necessary. The current moon phase is a waning gibbous. Okay. It's waning still. So meaning that is the energy of release, energy of pushing away, banishing, getting rid of, letting go of, transmuting, adjusting, things of that nature. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mercury is now in retrograde as well. So something just to consider. Is not to scare you. Don't let the planets rule your life. It's just to have awareness, to be able to make informed decisions, and to be able to work with the energies instead of against them. Okay. So anyway, I love y'all so much. Take care of yourselves. Stay hydrated. Do all the things. Love on yourself. Okay. Especially on this Jupiter day, right? Even though this is a day of releasing because of, like I said, the phase that the moon is in, it's still nonetheless a beautiful time to accept and be willing to step into opportunities to expand, growth, abundance. Those are all Jupiter correspondences, right? Growth, increase, wealth, fortune, good fortune, focusing maybe on your legacy, maybe any blockages you have surrounding money. This is a really good time to work on that. Blockages or limiting beliefs you have around money, limiting beliefs you have around your growth, your wealth, your inheritance, right? Generational wealth, inheritance, things like that. Any type of limiting beliefs, concepts, things like that. This is the perfect time to release those things. So don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on the energy. Take advantage of it. Okay. It's not just affecting you, but affects the collective planet as a whole. So anywho, I'm done. Until next time, outie.